Hey y'all, what's up? Miss Devoted Tiff is back with my commentary for season 9, episode 2 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So we pick right back up where it left off with Phaedra and Portia walking in. First, let me say Sheree's response was tripping me out. You could tell she was so thirsty for the juicy drama that was about to happen. Like she couldn't even help herself. She was like, ooh, woo, woo, sound like an old cackling little witch. But she knew it was about to go down. And they kept it cute, when they first walked in, they did keep it cute. Of course, until Sheree was trying to set them up for bait like an original housewife, like an OG will do. She tried to set them up for bait saying, well, what do y'all think? And of course, Portia, who has really been upping her reading skills since she's been hanging around with Phaedra, said, Portia says, well, I couldn't really see because of the dust in my eye. Oh, the shade of it all. But I was here for it. And so then, of course, Kenya sees that they're there and she's walking over. Cut away to her interview. She's talking about, she thought she said no thoughts allowed. Mind you, she's saying this while she is spilling out of the top. It's like the top is 1/4 of the size of her boobs. Like any moment it's about to come out. It probably did, and she readjusted it, and they just didn't edit that in the footage. She gets there, she accepts Phaedra's gift, because of course Phaedra's a Southern Belle, and even if she don't really like Kenya, she'd never show up to a housewarming without a gift. And so then Kenya asked Portia to go outside, and I was like, oh Lord. And I was hoping they didn't get into it outside. And when she gets out there, she basically was like, I didn't invite you, trying to explain first trying to act like she didn't know that she was gonna be Phaedra's +1. 2, she tries to give this whole spiel about why, she didn't get an invite in the first place, and she thought she made it clear. I'm not sure how she did make it clear, because I've been watching The Housewives a long time, and if you don't want to invite somebody, you call them and say, hey, I just want to let you know you weren't invited. So no, she didn't make it clear. Anyway, so she puts Portia out. I want to say I can't believe it, but because it's Kenya, I can. I think that was in really poor taste, because if anything, if she wanted to have a conversation with her, you would think the conversation would be, I did invite you, but now that you're here, you're welcome, but just keep no drama. If any drama comes, I will have to ask you to leave, because I don't want any of that going out of my housewarming. Maybe, but we know that Kenya is the most immature 40-something that you ever met or ever seen. So I wasn't surprised. Good for Portia. She didn't create a scene, and she didn't say, no, I'm not leaving. You didn't say I wasn't invited, so I'm not leaving. She didn't do any of that. She just said, okay. And I think she halfway didn't want to be there in the first place, and that's why she didn't mind leaving. And she said earlier she was only there for Phaedra, so that was kind of like her out, like, okay, good, I don't want to be there anyway. So then she leaves, and Phaedra, since they came together, she left with her. And the other girls see what happened, and they are like, what's up? Of course, Sheree gonna ask her what's up, why did she leave? And she basically told him, that she put him out. And she's saying, the last time I saw her, she was beating somebody up in the alley. Of course Kenya is the queen of embellish. Kenya is the queen of over-exaggerating. So even though, the girl just got shoved a little bit in the alley, Kenya, to make herself look better, she gonna try to put her little Kenya twist on the story. I call it the Kenya translation of the Bible. And so Sheree goes out there, but not before Sheree kikis first with them. I kind of feel like Sheree is playing both sides of the fence a little bit, because she'll kiki with them, but then she'll go outside and kiki with the others. So we'll see what side she ends up picking. But anyways, Sheree goes outside to where freaking Frack are, and she was saying, that she was gonna walk them home. And then, as they're leaving, old Maddie Matt walks up. Now, to me, that seemed a little suspect, because she was just saying she hadn't seen him for a month. So if it was somebody I hadn't seen for a month, I would not expect for them, A, to even know that I was having the housewarming, B, for them to just pop up. And of course, to me, it's happening as taping starts back. So I'm pretty sure that Kenya set that up. Anyways, Matt comes. He looks cute-ish, Matt has an interesting face. He's definitely not ugly, but like I feel like maybe either his eyebrows are just really up there, but he always looks like he's in shock or something. But you know, I'm all about Team Chocolate. He was looking kind of nice, and of course he comes up, and she sees him, and you know, if it was all about who she invited or didn't invite, or the last time she saw a person they were so violent, you would think that same way that she had Portia step outside and tell Portia, you know, I need you to leave because last time I saw you it was this and that. You would think that the last time she saw him, he was kicking in her hotel room door, that her reaction would not be so calm and so cute and so sweet and so, hey, what do you think? You want to go talk? Which leads me to believe, like I said, either this scene was planned or she really was just being petty and just didn't want Portia there. But again, it's Kenya. And I feel like I'm giving her way too much time, so we move it on. We're moving on. The other reason she's not going to ask him to leave is because he brought the D. There, I said it. I'm so sorry, but that's how some women feel about that. Don't judge me, y'all. The Lord ain't through with me yet. So Candy's getting ready to leave, and she gonna say, I think you did a really good job. And I'm thinking, Candy, I'm used to you keeping it real, whether people like it or not, but I don't know. Maybe the editing was bad, but I felt like you was being a little fake and phony in that moment because it's not what done. So what good job. So she goes upstairs. She talks with Matt. He apologizes, even though he actually never said that he kicked in a hotel room door. So I'm not sure if that part was true. It sounded like to me, and y'all can tell me what y'all think, it sounded like to me he was just apologizing for yelling and for their argument escalating. So that was good that he did apologize, you know, because you should never raise your voice at women. Women shouldn't raise their voice either, but, you know, men are definitely able to scare us a little bit when they yell, and it seems like they're a moment away from hitting us or something. So even though it would be extremely hard to keep my cool if I was dating Kenya, that is cool that he apologized. And, of course, she forgave him because, well, like we discussed earlier, what he brings. So that scene is done, and then we go over to Cynthia. And she is in her house with her daughters, growing up to be just so beautiful and stunning, just like her mom. Although I think she looks a little bit like her mom and her dad, but she's just growing into such a lovely young lady. And she talked to her mom, you know, about the divorce, and it was a really real moment, which is one of the, I think, good things about the Housewives shows. As much drama as it is, there are some really real moments. You see them with their kids, you see them with their spouses, and that moment was, it was a trip for me. She basically was like, so are you really doing this? And then she asked her mom, she had low self-esteem, and you could tell that Cynthia was so taken aback. She was so shocked by her saying that, and she was like, why would you ever ask me that? And she was, I guess Cynthia didn't realize that their arguments had gotten pretty loud, and with Norel's room being right next to theirs, that she could hear things. And so she basically, because the kids of all the Housewives series, the kids are always the voice of reason. The kids always keep it real and tell the truth because they're not trying to put on for cameras ever. It's like the kids, if you want to know the truth, the kids of the Housewives are always the ones. And so she was like, well, it just seemed like you have low self-esteem because nobody with high self-esteem would continue to argue with someone like that. And you could just see on Cynthia's face, I think it just clicked. Something really clicked. It hit her like, man, if it really was time for me to go, or I really did stay too long, if my daughter feels like I had low self-esteem, and no mom, no aunt, no one that is like a older woman that has a younger woman that looks up to them wants them to think they're setting a bad example. And I think basically in that moment she felt like by continuing to stay and be in that situation with Peter, that she was telling her daughter it's okay to stay in a situation that long. So she just kind of broke down and cried. Her daughter hugged her, and she said it was going to be all right. And that was just like, wow, that was a moment. But I think it really hit her then, because we see later on in this episode, she goes and meets up with Peter. So yeah, that was a heavy scene. So then we cut over to the candy coated factory, And I guess they're having a company meeting. Don Juan and Candy and Todd and another employee, I don't remember his name, talking about a new venture. Now, I will give it to Candy. I was seeing a lot of y'all's comments online like her and Todd always have some crazy harebrained scheme. But I got to give it up to Candy because I'm an aspiring entrepreneur myself. If she sees an opportunity to turn something into profits, she is always gonna go for it. And she got her baby out there, and people want to see about her baby. So hey, she figured people want to buy baby stuff from her. So there they go, another business. But then they said they're not done with the restaurant yet. And man, I had almost forgot about the Old Lady Gang restaurant. No doubt that when it finally opens, it'll be either this season or they're gonna time it perfectly for next season, because that's how the housewives do with their business ventures. And then Candy's mom comes in, and I have mixed feelings about her, but whatever. She comes in, and she gets to get in on Phaedra, talking about that Phaedra should be in the cell with him, with her husband. She talking about that Phaedra, if she could have divorced him, she would have divorced him already by now, because she knows Georgia law. Just going in on Phaedra. And then, of course, Don Juan chimes in, and Candy laughs. But it's the, oh, y'all better stop, haha, laugh. Like, she be the first one, Candy will be the first one to say, nobody talk about my mom, and that's it. And we done with that. Nobody gonna talk about my mama. But her mama talking about anybody, and if anybody wants to clap back, then she wants to get upset. And it's like, if your mama gonna put herself on camera to talk about other people, she has to understand part of that comes with somebody may clap back. And just when it's legal stuff like that, don't be putting out no accusations. Don't be putting out no rumors. Don't be saying, that she knew, because she knows everything. And like, to me, that's just certain stuff, maybe I'm a little old school with that. But when it comes to like something that can get somebody in jail, I ain't got nothing to say. I don't know nothing. I ain't seen nothing. I don't even remember. I wasn't even around. Like, my lips are sealed. And so for her to be doing that, it's like, she got kids. Like, I wouldn't be, tiptoeing into that topic. But, some old people, they feel like they can say whatever they want. And Candy's mom's definitely one of those. And also, Phaedra never said she had to wait to divorce him. She said she was just going to do it when she was ready. And that she wanted to make sure she was sure, And that's one of those things, you have to make sure that when you do it, it's no regrets. And so Candy mama don't have her facts straight once again. And I just was tripped out by the whole scene, because it was almost like Phaedra was Candy's storyline for that scene. Because why is it supposed to be a business meeting and your whole staff is sitting around talking about Phaedra's situation? If y'all aren't friends anymore, if her and Todd have settled their debt, then why are you like talking about her at all? Like, be done with her. Like, don't spend this whole scene. Y'all looking real messy. Y'all looking real petty. Y'all looking real full of drama when you do something like that. So then we see Phaedra, and she is meeting up with Kenya, which I did think was very interesting. But, who knows why that went down. Talking about the party, and also talking about Portia. She let her know that Portia took her classes. And then Kenya's like, oh, so she's cured, which I think, again, is in such poor taste, because anger management isn't a disease. I still stick by, I don't think Portia has anger management issues. It's just she gets tried. And that brings me to, they cut over to Portia and Sheree meeting. And that's basically what Sheree was saying, is that they used to try to label her, but when a woman, wants to raise her voice and stand up for herself, they want to look at her like she's too aggressive. But again, I say, if any of those other girls had gotten tried the way Portia had been getting tried, they would have reacted the same way, if not worse. Because the times that people even gotten close to trying them like they tried Portia, they turned up. And it wasn't even to the extreme that Portia got tried. We done seen it with Kenny. We done seen it with Kenya. Kenya moving people's chairs. Like, So that's how I feel about that still. But Portia, you know, want to show the girls that she did listen to what they're saying, is taking anger management, and she wants to do an event to get them all together. And that may be part of the reason that Phaedra met up with Kenya, because she extended the invitation to her. And so she said she would agree to come. So then we go over to the restaurant. And Todd is there with Candy. They checking it out. It does not look ready. I mean, I like the exposed brick on the inside. It looks very New York loftish. But yeah, I don't see anything but the wood and like bricks. And so they bring in the old lady gang to check it out. I love those bras. I think we all have some old lady gang type ladies in our family. Lord knows I do. And so they looking around, taking it in, and of course, they get down to the money. They say, what y'all want us to do? They can take pictures with us for $5. I was like, yes, get you a piece of the pie, old lady gang. Don't just let them use your face and be your spokesperson. Get you a piece. And so then Bertha asked straight out, you know, how much are we getting? And Candy gets quiet, and I'm like, these are your relatives. Why are you letting Todd answer this question? Like, don't get quiet now. Like, don't leave Todd out there by himself to talk about money with your family, because then when it's time to pay, they're going to be looking at Todd like, see, Todd told us this, Todd told us that. So I think she should have stepped in and was like, you know, we'll discuss it. But she didn't. So then the next scene is with Kenya at a Brazilian wax parlor. She invites Cynthia and Candy, which I guess that's the new clique now, since Claudia isn't on there anymore. And since Candy isn't cool with Phaedra anymore, like that's the new clique, which to me is like an odd couple. It's an odd match that the three of them would be hanging out. But I guess she feels like she can't hang out with Phaedra and Portia. So that's all she got left to, you know, stay in with the girls. And I just find it hilarious that this is what I was saying earlier when I was saying that I think Kenya let the D decide whether or not she was going to forgive Matt, because now they back together and she at the Brazilian wax place trying to keep the forest chopped down. So there you go. Which even more leads me to believe that he didn't get to the point of kicking down doors and whatnot like that. Unless she is one of those women that's, you know, that vicious cycle of abuse, you know, violence, forgive, apologize, buy gifts, honeymoon stage before he does it again. I don't know if she is that type of woman. I really just feel like he didn't go that far and that he just yelled and she broke up with him. Because why would she take him back and already be letting him at the kitty cat to the point that she wants to get a trim? So, food for thought. So, she took him back, and they're in there getting wax. Cynthia eating the wax, Lord. I was like, Cynthia, please stop eating the wax. And I think she double dipped too. You gotta be careful nowadays. And so, then it comes up there that it got back to Kenya that Sheree had been talking noise about her as far as you know, her critiques and her thoughts on the house, which I think is so hilarious and so ridiculous, because that's like all that Kenya does in her interviews is talk about her house, talk about where Sheree lives or doesn't live. But as soon as Sheree wants to give her thoughts on the house, she's like, oh no, I can't take it. That is so Kenya. Oh my gosh. So you could tell that's probably going to lead up to a confrontation, which it does. But before we get to that, Cynthia and Peter meet up. She's looking amazing. Like, she still looks like a model to me. Like, she couldn't look not like a model if she tried. Shoes was amazing, and so I need to find out what those are. So that was some good product placement right there. So they meet up. You could tell that they still love each other to me. You could tell they still miss each other. And she was saying, and he was saying how long it had been since he had been back in Atlanta and that it was hard. And she was asking him why he hadn't returned the lawyer's phone calls yet. Because if you remember last episode, she had the lawyer reach out to him to discuss the divorce proceedings. And so he was like, well, you've already had your time to deal with this. I need my time. And that it hit him hard when he went to the hospital because they asked him for his emergency contact, and he realized that it couldn't be her. And then she kind of broke down after that. She was like, no, just because we're getting divorced, like, that don't mean I don't care or that I can't call you, and that, you know, we've been friends, and that I always still, that we've always been friends, and that he was the one that she would always call when she needed something. And, you know, she started crying and she's saying she still want him to be in Noelle's life. I don't know if Noelle want him to still be in her life. We'll see. But she basically saying that, she was very straightforward, so I appreciate that. She was like, I don't hate you. She's like, I love you, I respect you, I just can't be married to you. And I was like, wow, I mean, you can't get more straightforward than that. So I think he kind of got it after that, because as soon as he did that, as soon as she said that, he was like, I want you to be happy. And he called a lawyer. The lawyer said he gonna send over the papers. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I was like, dang. Because it's like, we saw them when they were dating. We saw them when they were engaged. We saw them getting married. And now we're seeing them getting divorced. And it's just crazy, like, how some of these relationships don't make it through the reality show thing. But either they were already a mess, and the reality show just brought it out in front of everybody, or the reality show broke them apart or made them grow farther apart. I think in this case, it may have already been a trip, because that may have been why her family was so against it in the first place. But I do think that they will go away from this being friends. And so then we get to a scene with Portia's event where she got everybody together. I was so glad that it wasn't a dinner, because we know these broads, when they get in a dinner, somebody's drink gonna get thrown, somebody gonna walk out, somebody gonna almost hit somebody. Like, no dinners. So she took them to a place, I think she says, called the Escape. And it's basically like team building, which I'm a huge fan of team building exercises. So I was like, maybe this would be a better route. And she put herself on a team. Portia put herself on a team with the people that she don't get along with. So she put herself on a team with Kenya and Cynthia. Well, not that she don't get along with. She put herself on a team with 2 people that she has had physical altercations with. And then she put Phaedra and Kenya on the same team, which I think that was also interesting too. So they went through the teams. They went through the exercise. Nobody won. And she was like, that's it. And everybody can, you know, go. So I thought, oh, this is going to be cool, you know. But of course, in the interview, Kenya has to bring shade and say, you know, we're supposed to see that she's took steps, or that she's cured just from her doing this. Like, the girl was trying to make a good faith effort to just do something peaceful, and nobody fought. And you would think if Kenya was like a mature woman, she would see the beauty in that. But no, she didn't. And so everybody else leaves, but we get to Sheree and Kenya. And Kenya basically confronts Sheree about what she said. And she's like, well, yeah. She's like, I did say it, you know. And she was like, well, you need to not talk about my place. And Sheree had to, because first of all, you don't want to come for Sheree. Like, Sheree, you are Sheree's lightweight. She can handle you and some. So, like, she's not the one that you want to try to play those games with. Because she would drag you just like Portia did. She would. So sorry. And so then Sheree and Kenya basically escalates, and they start going at it. And Kenya starts hitting below the belt, calling Sheree an H and a B, and dropping all these H and B bombs, and saying, you know, that the house isn't even in her name, it's in her mama's name. And Sheree was like, no, it's not. And it just got really catty. And Sheree was like, you know, I could have helped you. And of course, Kenya being so proud, she's like, well, I didn't need your help. I don't do trim. And like, it just got to a place where it was just so petty and stupid. And of course, Kenya, she likes to do her little dirt, say what she has to say, and then get up and walk away. So she does that, but that don't work with Sheree. We all remember Sheree followed Kim out and grabbed her wig. So you walking away doesn't do anything with Sheree. So Sheree got up and followed her, and she basically called her out and was like, you know, don't walk away now. You know, and that is how this episode ended. So looks like this season already we can see that Sheree and Kenya are going to be at odds. So it'll be interesting to see how the line divides and who sides with Kenya and who sides with Sheree, and how escalated that will be, and if those two will ever come to blows. I'm interested to see. This was an interesting episode, but I think it's going to get a little more heated next week. And thank y'all for watching. Follow me at Miss Devoted Tiff on Twitter and IG, also my YouTube. And hit me back if you have anything else to say. And I will be putting out blogs on other topics other than the reality shows very soon. So keep watching. I'll be talking about everything under the sun. So I'll catch y'all later.